Thank you. So I'd like to call to order our West Fargo Public Library Board meeting on Thursday, June 9th at 5:30 PM. We'll have a call to order. All right, so we will approve the order of the agenda. Need a motion to approve the order? And I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion, order of agenda passes. Next, we have the consent agenda to approve the following. Approval of the minutes from May 12th, 2022, and approval of financial reports.
I'll move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. So now on to our regular agenda. We have a Matt bus stop update.
Yes, and I'm so happy that Larry is here because he started this, so. I'm sorry. No, it's a good thing. So I received an update yesterday from Cole, who's the assistant transit director. And so I had been trying to get in touch with him, and he emailed me back yesterday. And he said that they ran into some timing issues, which they think that they have resolved now because they're making several changes to Route 20. And so they think that those timing issues are resolved now. And so the last step is that the transit director at MapBus is going to make an appointment to visit with the West Fargo commissioners, city commissioners. But he didn't seem to indicate anything was changing, that it was still progressing. And so he didn't give us a new timeline, but he just said that now Julie was going to meet with the commissioners just to get their input, and that was his update.
Still fantastic news.
Yeah, absolutely, yep. So the library, there's gonna be a new bus stop just on the corner of 3rd Street and 3rd Avenue, and hopefully it'll be very soon.
Awesome. Again, Jody, thank you for working on that.
Well, Larry brought it up initially, and then I definitely agreed with him that I was really shocked to find that there wasn't a stop near the library, and it'll just be really helpful for access, and yeah, it'll be a really good thing.
Good.
So I made sure you were on the communication, and I included Mandy on the communication, so if there's any follow-up that is needed, everybody is in the loop.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. Next on our agenda is the draft agenda for our library board orientation, which is on June 27th, coming up here in a couple weeks.
Hello, everybody. You know me.
Hello.
Kristen Hannigan, the Adult Services Manager. So things that we want to talk about, there is no action on this, but I wanted to put the agenda before all of you so you have eyes on it and address some of the things that revisits a lot of things that you guys already talked about last year with a context of having a new director and the 2022 budget and what that looks like instead of the 2021. And it also has a few items that we've talked about in the last 6 months regarding service area, as well as fundraising responsibilities and things that are okay for staff to do and where those boundaries should be lying with staff and or the Friends, or how that includes all of those operations. So it does look largely the same. There are times on here, but I would say it's going to be kind of driven on conversation and kind of the spots where you guys want to talk more in depth and things like that. The library service manager team will be there for that whole session and will probably lead a lot of the conversation since Betty will be only here 2 weeks and it'll be new for her. And so that first part there is really just introductions. Us talking through about West Fargo Public Library and a few of those items. Tina and John will also be there from the city. They'll be talking through some of those same responsibilities and things like that from last year. He'll also be talking about any sort of North Dakota laws to be cognizant of. Some of that information is pretty much the same. I have in here the library services managers on this part, but I think once Betty's here, I kind of want to talk to her and see if that's a part of the meeting that she would like to lead, of how her expectations and how you guys will kind of work together in the future, because that'll be your guys' first time meeting her all together. So I think, because not all, I don't know that have all of you met Betty? I can't remember if that's true.
We did that meeting with all of us.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Time is relative,
I know.
and I don't know what life
It
is
seems like a long time ago, yet only yesterday.
Yes, somehow time warp has occurred. Okay, so open floor for you guys if you have any thoughts, things you want to take off of the agenda, things you want to add. things you want to swap out for that training.
I mean, I thought it went well last year when I went through it, so I thought it was informative, and I don't see anything missing, but
Okay.
anyone else have any comments for that? Looks good.
I love it. Easy enough.
Okay, thank you. All right, next on our agenda, we have presentation of the 21 annual report.
Which you just get to hear more of me. So, this presentation will also be shared with the commission later this month. Myself and Betty will be going to that meeting and having an opportunity for the rest of the commission to also meet Betty, but also talk through all the things the library has accomplished in the last year. So 2021, time warp also again. We celebrated our 50th anniversary. We navigated public services post-quarantine expectations of our public. We brought back a ton of services that were inoperable because of the pandemic. We added the Little Red Reading Bus route to our summer programming. We have new community partnerships. We saw changes in our leadership and our organization. Through all of that, we can say that we stayed true to our goal of providing the people of West Fargo resources and opportunities that help them achieve all of their goals, their passions, all of those amazing things, and the services that provide by the library. So, by some numbers, the collection. In 2021, West Fargoans and reciprocity patrons alike checked out 147,182 items, which is a lot. It's great to see. You can see a lot of increase over our services. Yes, over 2020 looks huge, obviously because of our closure, but you can see as well as an increase from 2019 as well, pre-pandemic numbers. Our collection items are always fluctuating. Molly Flass-Poehler does a really great job of managing our collection and technical services department. So you've seen a lot of change in our collection that includes withdrawals of items and additions to our items and how we manage all of our procedures behind the scenes of our library. Usage in general, we saw a big increase of library cards issued. That is largely because of the addition of the West Fargo public school cards and increasing that access to our students 6 through 12. And so you can see a big increase there from those numbers. It also includes, obviously, those pandemic years where we weren't really issuing as many cards. But you can see a really big increase of that impact of those card users. We had almost 50,000 people come to our building and then add an extra almost 6,000 visits to our Little Red Reading Bus and other pop-ups throughout the community. So it is a big impact that we're having in the community. People are interacting with the library. You can see that in these numbers here. Technology usage. Sometimes people think that because there's internet, there is no public library, but that would be largely false. We know that here in this room. We have a lot of people that come in and use our computer sessions and use our public computers at the library to do a variety of things, whether that's applying for jobs, playing games with your buddies, and just using the internet as any person would need to use the internet for personal use. We also have our circulating technology that goes out into the community, so our hotspots and tablets. People are using those more and more, and you'll see a lot of, I think, probably increase in those numbers also this year as well. And we've added new items to our collection when it comes to those tablets, and some of them are relevant to our summer reading theme this year, so some water theme things. So they are going out the window like no tomorrow, so that is very great to see. When we think about our programs in 2021, we offered nearly 400 unique events and programs to teens, adults, kids, and families. Some fun ones, you can see pictures here, are our Animals and Ice Cream event in June, a part of our Summer Boost program, where NDSU brought cows, sheep, and a mini horse to the library, my personal favorite. We had a Snow Pants story time offsite in February where they're at the POWMIA Plaza, so offering story times in unique ways. So it's not only in our building, but out in the community as well. We had a bird watching event in Elmwood Park in partnership with the Audubon Dakota. That program, I think people talked about for like a month after, so that was a really great collaboration that we did last summer, and people were very excited about that. And seeing little kids spot birds in trees, hands down the cutest. Obviously, we just celebrated our 50th anniversary, so there's some exciting things about that. And all those items that we had in that history exhibit actually went to the NDSU archive, so they will have that in perpetuity, the story of West Fargo Public Library over the last 50 years. Overall, we had over 15,000 people attend library events last year. This does not include our 12 regular route stops with the Little Red Reading Bus at parks over the summer, and does not include the people that we visit in our daycares and our senior homes as well. In 2021, we redesigned our summer programs for thinking about how we approach our summer programs. It's not totally true that it only happened last year. That was a multi-year process of moving to a summer learning program, not only a summer reading program, but having opportunities to experience at the library. So whether that's playing outside, doing science, doing arts, doing all those different modes of learning, not only limited to reading, and that was also expanded with our Little Red Reading Bus. So, like you know, there are 12 route stops per week. Books, games, movement, activities. Our big Connect 4 is a large hit even to this year. We didn't have it this first week, and people are like, where's the Connect 4? So don't worry, it's coming out into the community. It will come back. We had over 6,000 people attend our summer programs. That's not including the Little Red Reading Bus, but those summer programs are a big hit for us. It's our, I equate it to our Christmas retail season. It is when people are always in our building. And we had nearly 1,000 people participate in our Learning Challenge. We also launched our Ready to Read program for kids under the age of 5. That was launched in last fall as a soft launch, and now it's kind of rocking and rolling. You see that a part of your board stats each month. We learned that our partners at the school district had almost 90% of their kids aren't at the literary level that they should be for reading, and so this program has been a big impact for those early readers and how they're getting excited about learning and getting ready for school. So it's not only for the kids, but it's also for the parents and how those beginner steps for learners happen at home. So that storytelling, the songs, the rhymes, all of those elements of phonics and reading start at home. So this program largely supports that. It has those helpful tips and tricks for parents, incentives and readings for kids. I've had several little kids who come to the service desk with their completed sheets, so it is physical as well as virtual for our families. So those little kids can see the physical element, and it's very literal for them when they reach a milestone and come in and get their prize. And all of the prizes support various levels of literacy, so there are writing activities, there's sensory toys as well that they receive, but they all support different elements of literacy as well. By the end of 2021, 84 families had signed up for 1,000 books before kindergarten and had a total of 522 attendees to Baby Boost story time, so it's specifically a lap-based activity story time, and that was just in 4 months. So far in this year, we've continued to see roughly 40 people per session of our story times, which is incredible and awesome, and it's very much a testament to our Children's Services librarian, Sarah Davis, and the great experiences that families have. And it's new people coming all the time too. It's not only the same people coming, so we see a lot of fluctuation in that audience as well. Adult programs and outreach deliveries. Another important part of what we do at the library is offering services and resources for that lifelong learning element. In opportunities for adults 18 plus, which is a big window in the same way that 0 to 18 is a big window. 18 to end of life is also a huge window. And nearly half of the programs that we offered in 2021 were intended for our adult audience, from gardening classes to movie screenings to our One Book, One Community program. There's a lot that we do and covers a variety of needs for our community and our adults. We also prioritize serving people who aren't able to visit the library on their own, so reaching our senior communities. We go to 6 different off-site organizations, and they're all very appreciative that we're able to bring library items to them. One fun fact, we had nearly 1,000 items go out of the library. Any questions about our annual report for last year?
What a great annual report.
Yay!
A lot has happened, and
Sure has.
we appreciate the efforts since COVID and since that, and just to restart things.
Absolutely,
So thank you.
of course. So this will be presented to the commission. Myself and Betty will be going to that meeting, but that will happen at the next commission meeting this month. But then this will be available online and for the public and the community.
All right, thank you.
Do you want me just to go on to the next thing?
Yes, you can, so you have the library report as well, I assume.
I do indeed have the library update. So, all the things happening. This picture was taken from Monday, so kids are out in parks and we are visiting them. A little agenda for this library updates. We'll be talking a little bit about staffing, our open positions, as well as the construction that's happening at the Ladone Community Center right now. And then a programming and outreach update of things that are happening last month and then in the future. For open positions and new hires, we do have our youth program assistant that is still open. That they're hoping to be interviewing next week. This is the second round of interviews for that position. Of a whole new batch, if that wasn't clear. Our teen intern positions for the summer have been offered, and we're just waiting on their pre-hire process very eagerly. As you can tell by not having those 5 positions for our summer staff, that was anticipated for our summer staffing and the amount of programs that we've offered, so we're a little stretched at this exact moment, but the anticipation of having those interns start in the next week, as well as hopefully soon, very much after, in the next 3 to 4 weeks, having that youth program assistant join our staff as well. Betty Adams, our new directors, will be starting on Monday. We're very, very excited. Literally cannot wait. We are, the library service managers have put together an onboarding plan for her first month at the library, mostly around shadowing, some deep dive sessions into the history of certain elements of the library. We'll be having a meeting with Jim and Tina around budgets and how that works with the city. And then obviously she'll be attending the library board orientation component and getting to know more of the larger inner workings and how libraries work here in North Dakota. But that, we're very excited. Cannot wait. Okay, construction at the Ladone Community Center. If you haven't seen on our socials, you're being made aware now. A very much needed project. We had expressed concerns of our sidewalk because of the gap in that sidewalk here. It was like a 3 to 4 inch, it was a big gap for strollers, anybody who may be using mobility aid, as well as staff for carting items in and out. We'd expressed that concern earlier, and it is being addressed, as well as there's large depressions in our parking lot, so that we were working to repair that. All very good things. However, there comes a however. The execution of this project is another example of the challenge that we have being in the building that we are in. Communication of this project has been very limited. Andrea Hayes, she's the principal of the Early Childhood Center that's a part of our building. She stopped over on Monday. Lucky that I was working the service desk at that point in time, so she had a chat with me of what was going to be happening and let us know that on that day, that tomorrow or Wednesday, this project would be happening. And so that's very limited time for us to talk to staff, community members, patrons, our other tenants in our building, and kind of knowing what those next steps are. I'm grateful that she came and talked to us, because that would have been even more surprising if I came to work on Wednesday and our things were being ripped up. But that does leave us at a little bit of a disadvantage. And at that point in time, it was let us know that it was just the parking lot that was going to be addressed. When we came to work on Wednesday, our sidewalk was being ripped out. And that creates a different problem, because what we were told when we arrived is that we would have no access to door number 1, which is our primary entrance into our building. It's our only entrance into our building for our patrons and our staff. As a result of that, staff immediately stopped what they were working on to sort of figure out how we were going to get the public into our building as a result of that change. And essentially spent the entire day yesterday kind of figuring out that problem. However, the plans also continued to change. And I also found out that Andrea didn't know that that sidewalk was happening, so it was to no fault of hers. She did not know that that was going to be happening until we saw some jackhammers working on that project. But as a result, they let us know that we thought it wasn't going to be until Monday that we were not going to have access to that door, and so we started working through solutions, but then later found out about 3 hours later that, oh no, we'll have access to that door, but it'll be limited. And about 3 hours later after that, we found out, no, actually, we're not gonna have access to that door because they removed the gradient element of that sidewalk that would allow anybody with a wheelchair to go up our sidewalk, or strollers or any other sort of mobility aid as well, therefore making our front entrance not ADA compliant and inaccessible to our patrons. So again, our team is very incredible, and we started disaster planning through what next steps would look like. So our options to go through door 27, which is on the west side of the building, is an option. However, the only access upstairs is through an elevator that has to be manually keyed by a staff member. The school was not publicly okay with having that be fully unlocked because of the other tenants in the building, such as summer school as well as the YMCA. Just totally understand, we don't want that building to be unsecure. However, we don't have the staff to keep people up and also keep people out of the building. So it's also then a concern for not also their use of the library and their privacy as they're using the library as well. So door 27 was not the most ideal solution. The next option was door 23. However, that option requires our entire staff to be authorized to use a different entrance. Our public has to come in through a different entrance. They have to walk through an entire hallway that was semi-secure at the moment, but now has been fixed in order to be secure, and change entire operations for the YMCA groups that also use our building. Luckily, that was a great option for us. They were able to get that working. There are some limitations to that. We do not have security camera access to that hallway or that other entrance, and we are the only organization in the building that's open until 9 p.m. And after 5 p.m., there are no security. There's no other school staff on that side of the building. So if something were to happen, that would be a bit out of our control and are able to monitor that issue. During normal circumstances, the school district also doesn't have any staff in the building on the weekends or at that time anyway. We do have an on-call emergency contact. Whether that is always accessible depends on the weekend or the evening. So mostly I just want to convey the constraints that our staff are working in, and the last couple days have been a little stressful in navigating the communication of what that'll look like for staff as well as our community members. So if you are to hear that our book drop is inaccessible, that is true. Our book drop had to be removed from the front of our building in order for this project to be completed. Didn't know that until the bolts were ripped out of the ground and it was moved off to the side. And so that book drop outside is not accessible. And we've already had patrons put items into that overnight in which they are damaged, and that costs us money and staff time and all of those other things. So that person also won't probably be the last person that tries to stick things in that book drop over the next couple of days. It also has us adjusting our staffing plan to address our other bookshops outside of those main ones. So patrons, yes, can bring items to our offsite book drops and obviously bring things inside and come to Little Red Reading Bus. But not every person is going to get that communication as quickly as they may need it. And so some of those frustrations may come back to the board, and I just want you all to know kind of what those constraints have been for us.
Is the timeline to be finished still Monday, or has it changed?
The anticipation is that we are going to be under construction all next week, is our anticipation, because there is also rain in the forecast through Monday and Tuesday. So right now, our sidewalk is unusable, so all patrons and staff are coming through door 23, and they will continue to do that through next Friday. I will say that has resulted in some not great interactions in the last couple days, understandably so. If you're coming to the library and anticipating to use it in your normal way and having to reroute your use of the library, that isn't a great positive interaction.
Is there any additional communication that we can coordinate, like radio announcements or additional web travel? Like, could we put something on the City of West Fargo website?
I can speak to that a little bit. So I did issue a press release to our entire group. We have like a email list that I used when I worked for the City of West Fargo as well. So it's that same, all the radio, all the different publications. I did issue a press release with that. They've actually got a couple of them now since we had so many changes occur over the last few days. We do also have like a black bar that's at the top of our website. So if anybody goes to any web page, there'll be that. We also sent out email and text alerts to anybody who signed up for those, which unfortunately isn't our whole patron base, but about 7,000 people get those email alerts. So we have been diligently, I'm thinking of everything I
course, yeah.
possibly can to
I'm
try
not
to
trying
get the
to add
word
to
out.
your work. Please don't feel that. I'm just trying to mitigate people being upset if they're expecting one experience and getting another. And we all know that timelines like this change. You know, we're at the mercy of weather, like you said, and their schedules can change too. So.
Yep. We did today too, spent a few hours just posting signs all over the building too. So I know
Okay.
that that's not gonna reach people before they get to us, but when they do get there, hopefully they see one of the bajillion signs we put up today, so.
Just a quick question on the security. You said after 5 o'clock, there's no security on door 23. Is there a need where you'd want to reach out to like American Security and Protection or a company like that for a temporary security guard during those hours, or is it not really, does it not warrant that?
That would probably not be up to us. That would likely be up to the school district and what they're comfortable with. And contracting it, I don't know that we'd be able to contract for that door since it's technically not our door. So in that case, yes, but maybe no. That would be up to the school district to make that call.
Okay.
Well, what if I like your suggestion, if you feel like it's a need, what if we hired somebody on behalf of the library and they could escort people if they felt like there was a concern? Do you feel like that's a concern?
I guess my concern's probably not escort. It's when library staff leave the building, if somebody's in there that shouldn't be in there.
That's what I mean, yeah. Like if your staff or a patron leaving late at night feels the need, like they would prefer to have somebody escort them, do you feel like that's a need?
I would say that I think that our first call should be the non-emergency line from the police department. And
Okay.
someone would come.
Yeah.
Since we are.
A city
that's what we're
department.
instructed to do as a department.
If there is ever a security risk in that way, or an unruly patron or somebody who is acting inappropriately in the library and is unable to be sort of contained by a manager who's on staff, that is our next step, is to call the police into action and come to our site. Do I always love that solution? Yes, no. There's different perceptions to how that would interact for patrons, but that is our sort of our next step. I would want to talk to staff and see what they would want.
At least we're in a time of year where it's light,
Yeah.
late,
Yes, it is brighter outside at evening, yes.
I would think,
Yeah,
so alleviating that.
I would hope in that way. But it's less a risk for maybe the library board to know, but it's more a risk also that the school district is also taking on by giving us this extra door. So if something were to happen on that side of the building, it's not our jurisdiction, if that makes sense. We're just kind of being lucky that they'll let us use that door so people can come in. Had it been the case that we had to use door 27, our recommendation would have been to close during the construction and that we would provide curbside, which is a negative impact for public services during our busiest season, including our, thinking through that scenario of us keying people up and down, maybe on just a general flow, wouldn't be ideal, but not great. When we think about programs that bring in 60 families, like our story times, inoperable. There wouldn't be enough workflow to make that happen. So again, I'm really just wanting to convey the constraints of our building and the constraints that the staff have been under during construction projects, and that this is not an isolated event when a construction happens at our building. When the construction happened last summer, yes, we understand that timelines will change with construction, but we didn't know also again until it was happening, until there were construction people in our parking lot. And then understanding what is the nature of the work that's being completed, and then communication of that timeline as the project progresses is not always sufficient to us to communicate that to our public members. Because unlike the other tenants in our building, we don't have an immediate email list of whoever wants to use the library on that day, whereas the Y has the email list of their families that are coming, and this summer school has the list of students that are in summer school. We don't necessarily have that list of people who want to come to the library each day. Trying to make sure I covered all of the things. At the end of the day, we are grateful that the project is happening. Don't get me wrong, but the handling of those projects will be a point of just conversation as we continue to use this building, or if we look at other options for our building as well. On to more fun things. Summer Boost and youth outreach. Our challenges are live for Summer Boost. You heard that from Lauren last month. All of that started on June 1st. We had our first in-person kickoff party this year since we closed for COVID, and it was an incredible turnout of almost 400 people came to the library that day. Really glad the construction wasn't on that day. That would have been less than ideal. But we had a steel drum band. Children were super fascinated, and the band actually paused and showed the kids how the steel drums worked. And it was very interactive, and there was a lot of families that came in that were excited about summer programs. Lauren and staff have been very busy on the Little Red Reading Bus. They've had a few pop-up events last month, as well as our first stops started on Monday, and we've had a lot of attendance already. Our first stop had, I think, 70 people at it, and stops today had about 80, and then I think 30, so it's busy, and great things are happening. We're having a lot of people sign up for cards. We kind of thought last year was that first really big wave of library cards, and since the change of adding the bus to our operations, but that card sign up is continuing to grow and progress, so it's very exciting to see that.
Well, the weather's been perfect.
Yes, it's been incredible. It's better than starting out at 90 degrees on the first day. That was rough last year. That is for sure. From an adult event and outreach perspective, our attendance has been kind of ebbing and flowing. That's kind of the nature of our recurring programs. We did make a change to our English conversation circles to move to a Tuesday night from a Wednesday night. So we're kind of seeing if that will increase some more traction. We have been getting a few more families that are excited about that. So we've had a couple couples that have come to our class that one maybe has a stronger English skills and one that wants to improve them. So they want to come and speak with others to continue to learn those skills. I want to put a small spotlight on my attendance to the Altrusa Fargo meeting. If you're not familiar with that group, they are a local chapter of an international nonprofit that focuses on volunteerism and literacy in the community. So a lot of their projects are building bookcases, conducting book drives, and then placing those in Habitat for Humanity houses. And so super cool opportunity for future collaboration, especially as we think about our youth outreach and how we may deliver services into the community. It was also fantastic because they wanted to come help us for the summer kickoff party. So it was a great volunteer plug-in. So they helped make that event go very smoothly, and just really looking forward to continuing to grow that opportunity. As we look to the upcoming months, for adult programs, we have Marcus Kruger from the Historical Society to come to the library and talk about the 40th anniversary of the Yumkumst exhibit and the voyage that it made. They're making a big improvement to that exhibit, and there's a lot of really cool things coming out of that. So it ties into our fun Oceans of Possibilities connection. Jackie will be leading a class. It's a John Coletta Great Courses series about how to find family history members that maybe were passengers on ships, and so trying to track that and how that connects to your family history. Lastly, for our adult programs, I also want to highlight a collaboration that we've had with Job Service of North Dakota since I started in 2020. During COVID, our COVID closure, we had virtual classes with the Job Service Department, and they did job seeking things, how to access unemployment during the closure and what to do to maintain life during that time, and how our virtual services could cater to the public and how they can continue to support themselves when everything was shut down. The library has always been a place for job seekers. They use our computers, search and apply for jobs, develop application materials, and there's always a lot of questions that our staff fields in regarding job applications. We've seen a lot of those people come to our library since we reopened. And we haven't really held in-person job seeker classes, but that is a goal that I have. I'm in progress for a Beanstack challenge that will offer as a learning path for job seekers to explore their own passions, their skills, and how that relates to potential career paths. And then also build those skills that are soft skills for the workplace, develop the materials that would go into that job application and all of those resources with things that the library provides with the various e-resources we have, as well as job service e-resources. The exciting thing is that I got an email from Job Service this week is that they're starting outreach services, which we've been greatly wanting for the last 2 years, because it is often a barrier for our West Fargo residents to go to the Fargo office, but they will be coming to us starting next month. So they will be doing one-on-one sessions for job seekers to explore whatever challenges they may be having in getting a job, or just working on what it looks like to be a job seeker right now in 2022, when there's a lot of open positions, and finding that thing that's right for you. It was also out of a collaboration with our Region 5 Adult Learning Board. I do sit on that and attend those meetings, so I hear the things that are going on in our region as well as locally to know what resources are available for our community members here in West Fargo. So we're very excited. I literally probably jumped out of my chair in excitement at that exact moment. So it's a great opportunity to get those services available for our residents. That is all I have on those.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Any other comments or questions? Well, thanks. That was great information, and we appreciate it. Next, we have other business. I did get an email from Betty. She was wondering about attending. There's early bird. I'm trying to get my computer going here. There's an early bird registration for a conference she'd like to attend, and I just looked up the cost, and it is like $75 to, I think, $125. But she'd have to register by tomorrow.
I can speak on that.
Can you?
Yep,
Okay.
I sure can. Our travel and education budget line would be perfect for that. We do have funding that's available for it. So if she,
Could she reach out to you?
yes, I did talk to her on the phone a little bit today. I didn't realize she had to register by today.
Well, tomorrow.
Okay, if that, yes, she can,
Well, and I didn't either till I was looking at the actual registration, and the early bird is,
is tomorrow. If you email her, tell her she can give me a call and we can take care of that registration. There is plenty of money in that budget for that exact purpose. So
Okay.
absolutely, yes.
thank you.
Yep.
Any other business for tonight? No? Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.